She looks at me and she asks, why would I pay a bill that isn't mine? She gets real uppity about it. But that's a good question, right? Because why would you pay a bill that isn't yours? And yet, here we are having this argument, the two of us. You came into my store, you asked me to pay a bill. I asked you for a phone number, I read it back to you, and you confirmed that that was the correct number. That's as much due diligence as I'm required to do. I've been doing this a while and it felt kind of weird, so I'm like, you know what? Let's take a look at it. I get into her account and I check her ID because we have to for everybody. Her name matches the actual name on the account. I go to pull up the payment history. She gets really anxious. She just starts just like fidgeting around. She's like tapping her leg, all kinds of stuff. Really weird. Some feels a little off. But like sometimes people just get nervous. Sometimes people get antsy, whatever. Look at the payment history, and each of them's a credit card for the last 8 months on an account, but it's 8 different credit cards. Now that's really uncommon. Most of the time you get like 2 credit cards max, maybe there's some cash sprinkled in there. And I start reading through it, and now she changes. Now instead of anxious, she's just all kinds of talkative. First I think she's just talking to fill the silence. That happens, whatever, but she starts to ask some pretty pointed questions. Well, how often do you guys deal with people that like are trying to get into accounts that aren't? Well, around here it's pretty uncommon, but in general, like happens all the time. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty interesting. I mean, how often do you deal with people that like take credit cards or something like that? And while she's talking to me, I'm still looking down the card transactions, and I realize that every single one of these has a different last name on it. I'm not going to say anything right away. I'm not stupid. I'm just like, hey, can I see the card that you tried to pay with? Give me, let me try and type it in manually for you. Let's see if it works now. She very clearly doesn't want to hand over this card. She's like, well, I mean, I can just like scan it or like swipe it, can't I? I'm like, no, I have to type it in manually. Can I see it? She reluctantly hands it over to me, and I read the name, and I'm like, this says Gregory. Now you've got 2 clear and distinct options. You can tell her the card doesn't work, you can call the cops, and you can see what they can do about it afterwards because you have all of her information. Or, the more fun route, you can look down and you can say, spell your first name for me real fast. And she spells her first name, and I'm like, so it's not Gregory. She panics. She's like, I mean, my name's not on that card because it's my dad's card. He was just trying to pay my bill for me, and we just couldn't get it to work. Scrambled pretty quickly, and I'll give her that, but it isn't my first rodeo. I'm like, oh, okay, so what's the last name on this card? Medusa, this woman. She is turned to stone. She is not moving, and she's not saying anything. Felt like an eternity, but probably only 3 seconds had gone by. She lunges over the counter to try and grab this card out of my hand. I'm sitting on a spinny bar stool, but my feet can still touch the ground, so I stand up. The chair kicks out behind me, hits the printer falls over. I move back with the card in my hand. She doesn't get it, but she's like swiping at it, like full feet up on the counter. I'm holding the card like this, like I'm trying to play keep away from my younger brother, and she's like swiping at it the whole time. She realizes she's not going to get it. She gets down off the counter, which she had to like wriggle backwards, which was really embarrassing, to be honest, and she bolts out the door. That's going to do much because your full address and social security number is on the account I already have pulled up. But the cops show up like 2 or 3 minutes later. It turns out my coworker had already called them. I go ahead and give him this lady's name, and the guy's like, that one. If I ever get that one by the cops, I'm moving cities.